Yo, JD here, Tyrollimus, and as you can see, we are back on F1 2021 here today, but for a bit of an interesting one. Jeddah we have this weekend in the Formula 1 2021 season, and so many people who have said that this is the most dangerous track that has ever been built in Formula 1, and I really wanted to just ask the question to everyone here. What do you think of this track prior to seeing any of the racing? Do you think it's going to be... is one of the most dangerous tracks ever? Because if you can see corners such as this, the reason is that there's just so many blind corners. And I'm actually going to reel off some stats about this track. So it has 27 turns, 3 DRS zones, 155 miles per hour average speed. It's 79%, might as well be 80% of the lap is on full throttle. It's the fastest street track that has ever been built. And even some of the drivers have raised concerns, such as Carlos Sainz warning the marshals of the risks of incidents. Verstappen raising the issue of what happened to him at Baku when the tyre pretty much gave up because of just the constant high speed and the demands of the tyre, which is going to be very similar around here. And if you have an incident going around corners such as this, blind corners with a very minimal amount of runoff, like going through here, there's literally no runoff there, but at the end of the day, that's what a street circuit is. So I don't know if people are surprised or they are exaggerating a little bit. I just really want to hear what people actually think of this, rather than the media and drivers. People who are actually going to be watching the Grand Prix are very interested. And the corner such as, I think this is probably the, if you could classify the most dangerous corner, probably that, because it's going at such high speed going into it. If there's an incident just around the corner, that could be a pretty big incident. So I think the yellows and double yellows, people will be penalised heavily if they do not obey them. But again, I think it's just really because of the speed of the track, how narrow it is as well. Surprisingly, very narrow. It's going to be a pretty interesting thing to watch. So I really wanted to hear what other people thought. Before we go into the main video around this track, just want to say thank you to my extra rotation members. Might have already read out some of these people, but Samuka Torres, Juan Rodriquez, Matt Lapo 4, Juan Barco, Dylan Day, and Artur. Thank you so much for joining the extra rotation club. So now we move into a PC race around Jeddah itself, because obviously we have been doing that quite a lot recently. And in terms of actually driving the track, I've started to really enjoy it. It's actually become one of my best tracks, in fact, for raw pace. But
drive through,
forgetting the danger side of things, I think the racing, because of how many DRS zones as well, we were pushed out here, so that's definitely a corner you don't want to go straight on in lap 1, because you can see it's a very, very tight angle to get back on track. You might even have to do a 360, quite similar to Baku turn 1, where the wall kind of cuts off your ability to rejoin the track. So we were quite fortunate in that case. But in terms of racing, it is quite intense around here, and driving a qualifying lap is pretty satisfying. But it's really with these DRS zones and being 80% on the full throttle, that's where, again, I've said it many times, it can become a little bit unsatisfying, where if you're faster than someone, they just have the ability to re-overtake you a bit too easily, in my opinion. So we will wait and see. I think we have to wait for the Grand Prix, because sometimes things can surprise us quite a lot. But as we are going into this video, I have quite a big announcement. I have just released my one-to-one coaching through coachlimitless.com. And if you see it down there on my pinned comment and in the description, I'm now taking bookings for one-to-one coaching, along with many other services as well. And we're trying to go for a nice little move on Daniel here. But I released my coaching to my members last week, which has been very, very successful. People have really enjoyed it, and I've really enjoyed it myself. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time. So if you are interested in having some one-to-one direct session with me on all platforms, so I'm on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC now, then make sure you go and look at the calendar. If there's something you like, then you can always ask me through the website as well. So thank you to everyone who's been involved in that. I really hope people find some use and it's a valuable experience for you. But coming through into here, kind of running into the problem that we have around this track where it's just flat out all the time. So if the car ahead of you, as you can see there, that's a little bit of an issue with this track with the runoff. But again, that's the nature of a street circuit.
This guy in second seems to be quite fast.
But I think the issue a lot of people are pointing out is that it's just so fast though. If you have an instant hit the wall, someone's tyre blows out, or someone's parked on an apex for a blind corner,
that's 2 warnings. It's
going to be too little time to actually
I couldn't do anything.
React. So again, really interested to hear what people think. But in my opinion, I think it's not going to be as bad as you might think. It's just that drivers really do have to obey the yellow flags. Like if they do that, then it should be fairly safe. But I think the racing could be quite decent. I think Red Bull in the first sector should be quite good. And if Mercedes, I know they're quite a quick car, but the straight line speed seemed to be quite similar to Red Bull in the last race. I think Red Bull could be a lot closer than people think to Mercedes around here. So it is going to be a fascinating contest. I am really excited to see what the racing and the outcome is. But now we are focusing on this race, as we've got Daniel06F1, YouTube member of mine as well, has got a drive-through penalty, so just jumping the gun quite a bit at the start here, and he is stuck behind Pole, who seemed to be a very fast driver when I was going against him, but there's actually another guy in the Ferrari up ahead of him, so it's a 4-way fight for P1, which will probably quickly become a 3-way fight as Daniel has to pit this lap, otherwise he will be getting a nice disqualification from this race. So you can see our strategy here. We've got the DRS zone here, so we're not using any of the overtake button because there's really no point to be leading at this stage of the race. Plus, it's quite easy for people to overuse the battery around here. So we're using a little bit of a boost coming off this corner. As we get the DRS zone, we decide to actually keep it on. So maybe we're actually going to try and get it for an attack because we don't want to be the third man in this DRS train. So we're going to go round the outside of the Ferrari, doing a really nice move, getting the inside for the right, trying out traction him, going through into here, and we just about stay ahead of Ferrari. So really nice racing there. I noticed on PC, people are very competitive, but also very fair and respectful and clean as well. So the racing has been a very intense but a very satisfying experience on PC so far. As we have another DRS zone, so this really helps me because if there was no DRS zone though, I think the leader could have maybe even escaped my DRS, but that's the thing that's a little bit unsatisfying. That's given me a little bit of an out of jail card, but I do have a lot of ERS to play with, so we've been quite strategic with our battery so far, using a little bit of the ERS again just to make sure I get within this next DRS zone coming through into the final sector. So this is the corner where I think it probably is the most dangerous on the track. It's so fast through there. If you hit that wall on the right hand side at the wrong angle, that could be a very concerning incident. So praying that no one does have an incident around here, because I don't think this is the track you really want to have one on. So coming off here, are we going to try and overtake into turn one? No, we don't. So we decided to keep the battery because I felt that these guys would probably have used a little bit more than me. So we do a 28.3. That's nice. So he goes quite defensive. We're going back to the racing line. We're not interested in overtaking him going around this part of the track, but we have another 3 DRS zones to play with. So if your car in the lead, I would always probably actually wait until the last corner, if I'm being honest, because if you overtake someone before, it's just so powerful. Since you're already going at such a high speed, so powerful.
Oh, I thought that was going penalty.
As we get another DRS zone here, so 6 tenths, we're going to close that gap in very, very nicely. We don't have to use any of the battery because we did have the DRS. This guy in the Ferrari actually seems to be quite on the pace as well, so we do have to pay attention to him. So coming through here, pretty much one of the last major braking zones, and then going up onto this very twisty S kind of straight. Reminds me of Vietnam, this section. You can see closing in there very nicely. We've got a DRS zone coming here, so we've still got 2 more to go on this track. And I'm not really going to be using any of the battery power. Maybe just to defend from the Ferrari below, but you can see his red light is actually flashing. The guy behind is struggling as well. So the detection point is on the exit of this corner. So we're just going to let him have this last corner. Not even interested in overtaking him. And you can see with his red light flashing, with the DRS, it's going to be a comfortable P1. And
GG, man. Good race. That's why the DRS zones absolutely suck. Jeddah. That's why they're absolutely awful. Just have to wait, running out of ERS, and get the DRS on the exit.
So yeah, the racing is definitely fun, but I just think it's just a little bit unfair and unsatisfying in some ways. So I really hope this weekend delivers in terms of the real F1. I think we will be surprised a little bit of how close it'll be as well. Hopefully everyone is safe when they're driving on this track. Let me know your thoughts once again. And again, really pleased to announce my Coach Limitless, my one-to-one coaching. So please get in contact with me through the website, or if you're a member, then contact me through there as well. So thank you so much. We'll catch you very soon. Peace.